How are you guys doing this evening? My name is Pastor Gilbert, and we just want to welcome you to another segment of Vision Cast. And the topic here tonight is Victory Gang Centers. But before we get into our topic, we've been here at Gang Convention 2019, and we are on our last night. And let me tell you, it's been a powerful week. God has been moving. And we have two guests on the show with us here this evening. We have Brother Alec, an ambassador from the MTC. Welcome, Brother Alec.
How you doing, Gil?
Come on, just if you want to introduce yourself.
My name is Alec, 24 years old. I'm from the Missions Training Center. I'm just happy to be here today.
Cool, and then we also have Sister Brenda, all the way from Victory Outreach Whittier.
Hi.
Brenda, if you could just take some time to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Brenda. I'm from Victory Outreach Whittier. I serve as a gang girl in my local ministry, gang girl leader in my local gang ministry.
I know it's probably a little nerve-wracking to be here, but we're going to go right into our topic, and we're going to be talking about Victory Gang Centers. So real quick, I just want to get right into it. I know that us as Victory Outreach International, we're known for reaching souls.
Yeah.
We're known for crusading. We're known for, filling up stadiums with thousands and seeing thousands come to the feet of Jesus, going to the foreign field. But knowing that Victory Outreach, we have many different methods, styles of evangelism.
Yeah.
And we know that we have a new method that we've implemented in those, especially within the gang, and which are the Victory Gang Centers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here this evening, I just want to get into our first question. What is a Victory Gang Center? Maybe, Alec, you can start off by sharing what to you a Victory Gang Center is.
Well, Pastor Gil, I think Victory Gang Centers are so strategic because they're an extension from our local gang ministry to reach out to the communities, the different cities around our city, so that we can reach the junior hires, the middle schoolers, the high schoolers, and bring them in. Not only that, but to empower the leadership within our gang ministry so that they can learn church planting, they can learn maybe how to do worship, they can learn, but on a different scale.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I
Brenda?
think also not only that, but it has the potential to become a third wave church, like basically like a pioneering church, but it has the potential to be that. Not only to help your local gang ministry and to be a bridge to it, but it eventually has the potential to be a third wave church.
Would you say, I know the Victory Outreach has multiple VGCs throughout the city. Would you say that each VGC have the same vision?
No, I think every single one of them could be different. In Whittier, we actually have 4 Victory Centers, and one of them is in one city, and that one, since it started, we knew that what it was going to be for, it was to bridge people, young adults, high schoolers, junior hires from that city over to our Whittier gang, because in Whittier we believe that not only we're reaching that city, but our surrounding cities, and that was its purpose. But in Costa Mesa, we just started a new Victory Center, and since it started, our vision and our goal for it is to be, in the future, for it to become a third wave church. So our purpose there is not only to be a bridge, but to eventually start a church plant there in Costa Mesa.
So what you're saying is that, these Victory Gang Centers give us the opportunity to develop, you could say, multi-worship teams, multi-ushers, leaders teams, multi-leaders within even the local church.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful, and because it gives us opportunity, right? It gives even the gang the feel to pioneer work.
Yeah.
Right? To break open a city, right? To look for a building. And I think that's awesome, especially the vision of our founder, that he wants to see third wave churches.
Yeah.
And we see that taking place in Panama. We see that taking place in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Yeah.
And I know that that's on his heart to see third wave churches begin to rise up. And what a unique strategy that God has given us through the Victory Gang Centers through our G.A.N.G International Overseer, Pastor Ryan, right?
Yeah.
I got a second question for you guys here this afternoon. Maybe Brenda, you can start this one off. Why is it so important to have a Victory G.A.N.G Center in your G.A.N.G ministry?
I think it has multiple reasons, but one of them is not only is it helping that community, that city where you send out, but it's that team. It's helping develop the team that goes out. So not only are those leaders being developed in their local G.A.N.G ministry, but now they're being able to experience what it is to be a pioneering basically church, to do a new work, to start from nothing. Like sometimes some churches, the bigger churches are already fully established and have it kind of together, but as a leader, when you start a new work, you're learning how to basically be a missionary, like in that city. So I feel like one of the reasons it develops the leaders to reach another, to grow, to reach another potential, new goals, and not only the leaders, but I feel like it also helps reach those people in that community and launch them over to your local church. I don't know, Alec, if you have.
Yeah, I like what you said. Too, it's to expand the minds of the ones in the G.A.N.G bigger than just their local ministry.
Yeah.
They get to see a different city. They get to see a different maybe type of people, and it expands their minds. It grows them. It shows that, man, I can have some opportunity in the G.A.N.G ministry. I can do much more than what I'm doing in my local ministry. And who knows, it might raise up some ambassadors for the MTC. It might raise up some missionaries that say, you know what, man, it's not just my local church, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, and I see that, you know, what you guys are saying, that it also it makes an impact.
Yeah.
It makes an impact in your local church, right? Not just in the local church, but in the G.A.N.G ministry.
Yeah.
I can see that what you guys are saying and what you guys are telling me, that it makes an impact in one that just probably came to the church and desires to pursue the will of God, that desires to get involved, that desires to do something for the Lord. And I could see the impact that it makes within the local church. But maybe here tonight, you guys could also share what type of impact does it do, not just in the local church, which you guys have been sharing this afternoon, but what kind of impact does it do within that community?
Yeah, well, if you look at Costa Mesa, how we came in, we knew that Orange County was the highest opioid overdose in California. So us hearing that need, I think a couple years ago they tried to find a building, but they couldn't. So we found a building right there in centralized Newport Harbor, Santa Ana. You got all this ground to cover, and we go out there and, man, we see a big need. It's just, we see testimonies of mothers just saying, man, my son is on drugs, he's on heroin, he's addicted to this, he's addicted to that, and man, we just see the need out there. And I think it's just so powerful that we can go out there and say, you know what, my need's just not in my city, but it's in my surrounding cities. I can't just take my city, I gotta take my state. And you look at, I gotta take my state, I gotta take my country, you know?
But I think even in the community, how Alec was saying, we're going into Costa Mesa, which is something that we're called, as Victory Outreach, we're called to read the treasure. But in this generation, the treasure doesn't look like just your typical drug addict in the street, in a street corner, but it's like a young adult who was raised in a good home, in a wealthy home, who has good things, but they're still struggling, but they're still hurting. And going into that city, I've been able to see how we've been able to reach a new type of people, but it's the same thing. They still need Jesus. They're still struggling. They're still struggling with drug addiction, but we've been able to go in, and in our Victory G.A.N.G Center, we have a good mix. Costa Mesa has a mix of like the least wealthy and then really wealthy people. So in our Victory Center, we've been able to see them come together, and they come from totally different backgrounds, but it's the same need, and we've been able to help them and give them purpose, give them Jesus, give them hope for a better life. So I believe that it helps in that way for like the community. That's something that we're able to do.
You know, and I've been seeing I follow Victory Outreach Whittier. I follow you guys, right? And you know, what are some of the events you guys do? I see you guys do some Rock the Blocks. Maybe you guys could share how do you guys go about maybe doing some of those evangelistic events? And it's not the church doing it; it's the VGC doing it. Maybe you guys could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we were asking around, man, what street is the hardest, where are the gangs at? That's we're out to call the Reach the Treasures.
Yeah.
So they told us about Shalimar Street in Costa Mesa. So we went, we looked around and like, man, the need is heavy out here. So we went one day to evangelize, and man, we ran into a bunch of young people. And we said, you know what, man, it would be great to have a Rock the Block. And Rock the Block, what it is, we take over that block, we barbecue, free haircuts,
Yeah.
we go door to door, we pray for people, tell them, man, Jesus loves them. And man, we've gotten so much growth from just that street alone in our Victory Gang Center. Our first night, we had about 30 of them come into our Victory Gang Center. And man, Rock the Blocks are so effective. If you want to do Rock the Block, it's so effective because it shows the community that you care about them. That, you know, we're not here just to pass out a flyer, but we're out here to, man, give you a free haircut and show that, you know, we care about the community.
That's good.
I think if we've been trying to do a creative way of evangelism, something that's been more approachable. So as a team, we started to strategize, and one of the things was Rock the Block. Another was Chillin' and Grillin'. So we went to a skate park, to a park. There was a lot of people. There's like a dog park, and we set up tables. It was quality. We had lights. We had music. So we went in and we handed out flyers, but some people came even without the flyer because it was an approachable setting. They were like, hey, free food, I'll go. And then once we get them to sit at the table, we just have a conversation with them and they're open up. We are able to evangelize in that way, different than like shouting on a street corner, which I believe is still effective, but in our city, that's what works with us. So another thing we were doing is pop-ups. So we went into colleges, we went into high schools, we set up a table, we had a few free snacks, we had music on, and they came to us. We didn't even have to go out. They literally, like 300, 200 young people were coming to us, giving them flyers. Even in our flyer, we did a creative thing where you could scan with your phone. You can now scan anything, and it takes them straight to our Instagram where they can follow us, see what's taking place. And they would ask us, what are you guys? What are you about? And sometimes people are such in a hurry, we can't have like a full conversation. So we're like, scan this, and you can see what we're about. And on our Instagram, we have our mission, our purpose, the vision, and then they're able to see what that is. So I feel like expanding your creative way of evangelism. Another thing is, I know in this generation, social media is so big, like YouTube, blogging, everyone wants to be a YouTuber. So something we're doing is we're going out to the street with a camera and a mic, and we're just going, hey, can we interview you real quick? And everyone wants to be in front of a camera, right? So they come to us, and then we ask them like, hey, what do you think about the afterlife? What do you think? Is heaven real? So they open up, and after they're done interviewing, we have people who are intentionally going up to them and asking them like, hey, I know you answered this about God. Why do you feel that way? And that's how we evangelize to them, connect them, and then get them saved. So I think we've just been thinking outside of the box, outside of the ordinary street rally, or just for this generation.
I think that's some good stuff you guys mentioned. If you're listening here this evening, I'm praying, I'm hoping that you get a pen and a paper and you take notes, because this is some good stuff that we're talking about right now. And maybe you guys could share a little bit. Maybe a church out there that only has 20 young people, 25 young people, and they're looking for, you could say, a creative way, or not just a creative way, they're looking how to go about opening a VGC. What kind of advice would you give maybe a smaller gang, maybe a gang of 15, a gang of 20, 25? How would you encourage them to go about opening up or starting a VGC, knowing that they desire to extend their reach into the community? How would we go about it maybe with a smaller, because understanding like, man, a youth of only 20 young people, that's less team members, that's less leaders. How would you encourage them, or what type of advice would you give them to go ahead and start at least one right now?
Yeah. I think the number one thing, as a leader, you see someone who's the potential to have a life group. So when you come from a smaller church, a Victory Center can grow from a life group. So challenge two young people to start a life group in their house. It could be in their living room. And from that, blow it up. Give it all you got. Treat it like it's the best service ever. Have worship there. And slowly your life group can go from 2 people, from 5 people, to 15, to 30. And when you're at 30, I believe if you can get a life group of 30, you can start a Victory Gang Center. So I feel like you could do it. You don't have to come from a big church. Like, if you have a heart to win souls, if you have a heart to become a Victory Center, start right there at your life group. And I feel like they can. Anyone can.
Yeah.
And if you even look at the testimonies of the pastors that went before us, like Pastor Chris in the West Valley, he took him and his wife, and they got a guitar and put chairs out in a park.
Nice.
And you look 2 years later, they just moved into their new building.
Yeah.
So I just say it takes a willing vessel just to step out and say, you know what, I'm going to go out there, and if people come, they come. You know, if they don't, they don't. But I'm going to keep on doing it, keep on reaching out to the community. You know, all it just takes a willing vessel to say, you know what, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's it right there. Now, you know, I know that there's a lot of the questions when it comes to VGCs or Victory Gang Centers, right? You know, like, what do you do in a Victory Gang Center? Is it like a gang night? You know, like, is it like church? Maybe you guys could like describe maybe some of the creativity or what you guys do in the actual service. You know, I know a lot of us, you know, we want to know, you know, maybe you guys can give us the secret.
So we basically, we've been doing it, we've been having our Victory Center for about 2 months now. And for the first month, we did Summer Vibes. So we did a whole event that's called Summer Vibes. And every week one week we did an illustrated sermon. So we're trying to have creative services where it's just not like worship, offering, announcements, preaching. Because they don't even, you know, like they don't. So we went at it. We still had worship and we had lyrics up because they don't know the songs. But slowly every week they started developing in that. But our preaching, we went about in an illustrated sermon. We went about of it and what was another way? Like spoken words. We
had a rap concert. The thing about it is, in Victory Gang Centers, you don't want to make the service too long because some of them are baby Christians, or some of them aren't even Christians. So
brand new.
You want to do creative things where you could catch their attention, but the main focus is the fellowship at the end. You really want to connect with them because at first they might come for the food, but at the end they're coming for the people. And do these people really care for me? Do they have my heart? You know, once we catch their heart, then we can slowly develop in, you know, training them in devotions and, you know, Bible studies. But it's really creative things first.
Yeah, so like we had a concert and the service came in, we just opened up, we welcomed, and then we just went straight into rappers and we had different artists, so they stuck all the way through, and at the end we still cast a net. So it's just having creative services until you eventually have them, they have that connection where they keep coming no matter what, and then you're still giving them Jesus, but you're not just preaching a 3-point sermon, and then you can start developing into that. So that's something we're doing in our Victory Gang Center.
Awesome. Let me get to my next question. For those listening, you know I kind of mentioned it already, but for those listening and have a desire to open a Victory Gang Center, and what would you say are some keys that maybe we need in order to go about establishing, or keys that are needed to establish a Victory Gang Center?
I think number one, you need a strategy. So vision from God, and then you need a strategy, and you need a team. Like before going anywhere, and you need to know the culture of the city you're going into. So in a team, I would pick different people with different giftings. You need a worship leader, you need a media person, a preacher, an evangelist, so you need to establish this team, but then also strategy. What's our goal? What do we want to see in the city? Every Victory Gang Center has a different purpose, so you need to know what your vision is, your goal. So before going in, having that and having the team united and all of them to know the same vision before even going in. So have a plan, have set goals. How many people are you trying to reach in a year? Like, are you trying to get to 100? How are you gonna get there? Are you trying to bridge over? Like, what's the plan to do that? So definitely, I believe you need to have a team, have a strategy, know the culture going into. I don't know, Alec, if you wanna.
No, that's true. And one big thing is you need to find the right location.
Yeah.
Because you can be so far off, but that's not the type of people we're trying to reach.
Yeah.
We really want to find a centralized location where we're in it. Not too ghetto, but not too rich, but a central location where we could be a bridge
Yeah.
from the ghetto into the rich. So I say finding the right location is key. And then once we find the right location, what's the personality of the city?
Yeah.
You know, what are the people like? What do they like? Are they, because Costa Mesa, it's a skater town.
Okay.
So what we're thinking next is having a skate tournament.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's going to attract a lot of people. Maybe have a raffle, then have the prize announced at the Victory Gang Center so they could come to the Victory Gang Center. So it's really key finding the personality of the city, knowing what they like. Can we do a rally in this spot? Can we do one-on-one? So finding location and knowing the personality of the city.
I think that's key, because I think you said something key in which Alec is describing is the culture of the city. I think, you know, you have, like Alec said, Costa Mesa is a skater town. You know, that, and then there's other, you're in Linwood.
Yeah.
And to me, that'll make you sounds like it's ghetto, it's hood, you know, it's gangsters. So I think that's real good that, you know, that we learn how to spiritual map. I think that's something we learn in the Urban Training Center.
Yeah.
Go to the UTC. Hey, you know, right? And learn how to spiritual map, learn how to see what's the needs in those cities. And like you said, what do they like? What type of music they like?
Yeah.
Are they into rock?
Yeah.
Are they into hip hop?
Yep.
So that you, when you desire to go in, you're able to bring that type of evangelistic tool to attract.
Yeah.
I think that was powerful. Let me get into one of my last questions for this segment on Victory Gang Centers. Is once the Victory Gang Center is established, what does the Victory Gang Center look like, or in a sense, how should it be functioning, or what's the full potential that, you know, the Victory Gang Center should be, you know, operating in?
Yeah. Well, the one we have in Costa Mesa, what we're doing is it's about an hour away from Whittier. So the ones we have in Whittier that are real closer, we're trying to bridge them into the gang. Okay. But for Costa Mesa, it's like an hour away. So we're trying to potentially make that into a church plant. So we're sending a team out there and making that into a church plant. But what we've seen from the first 2 months is that, how we said it, we broke it down earlier, creative services, but eventually turn it into a gang service where we're bringing 40, 50 people, and then when we establish the right team, then eventually make that into a church plant.
I feel like it could blow up. Your Victory Gang Center could become a third wave church. Like if you really give it your all, if you believe, if you strategize, if you evangelize, if you're relational with your people, you could become a church. And at World Conference, we're believing we're going to pray in a pastor. Yeah. We're believing that that's going to be a young adult church of people that are coming from total different backgrounds, total different ethnicities, but now we're doing something new where we can start off of that, and it can start from the gang. Like, you're never too young to go out and take a city, and that's what we're trying to do with Victory Gang Centers. If you want to serve God, if you want to be a pastor one day, if you want to be a worship leader and take a city, you could do it now. You could do it from the ages of 15 to 35, and that's what we're trying to believing for in these Victory Gang Centers, to become third wave churches, and that's an extension of your local gang ministry.
All right, yeah, and there you have it. You know, I think we talked a lot of key. You guys gave a lot of key points to be able to bring about a Victory Gang Center. You know, and man, what a strategic tool, strategy that God has given us in the gang, you know, so that we can develop, so that we can grow, so that we can, you know, we don't have to wait until we're 40.
Yeah.
We could be 20 years old and man, start somewhere, and that somewhere could be in a Victory Gang Center. And a lot of good keys, a lot of, you know, things went out here this afternoon to really help us, you know, to establish Victory Gang Centers, not just in Whittier, but all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, and before we close, maybe just share your heart real quick. You know, quick second to the viewers that are watching, to really inspire them to, you know, to step out in faith, to really, you know, do a Victory Gang Center right there in their local gang ministry.
I mean, we hear the testimonies of our elders, our pastors, and when they started the church, they were 19, 20, 21, up until 25. That's when they started. You know, they got sent out. So, man, if you feel like I want to do a Victory Gang Center, but I don't know how, you know, you can talk to us, ask us questions. And if you have that desire to start Victory Gang Center, I would say, man, the time's now. The time is now, gang, for us to rise up and really take our role, because our ministry, we see we're heading into team ministry and church planting. So that's the spirit. We got to get back to how Pastor Sonny said, that spirit of evangelism, that spirit of prayer.
Maybe, Brenda, you can envision the gang girls, that the gang girls can do it too.
Yeah, a gang girl right now. I know that we've had a powerful week at Gang Convention, and you hear you're called. You hear, even if you're called to go or if you're called to build, Victory Gang Centers help your local gang ministry too. So if you feel to be a pillar in your church, by being part of that, you're helping your church. And if you feel called to go, that's the perfect way to, it's a pioneering work, and that's the perfect way to experience it, get trained, develop. So gang girl, you're not left out in this. You're called and you're anointed. And if you say yes to God, like I've seen it with my own eyes, and I know God will use you and equip you and empower you, and you'll learn team ministry. You'll learn, I've been able to meet girls from different cities who need Jesus. So not just in my gang, and that's even empowered me, like envisioned me like, man, there's a need out there, and it's bigger than just our city. So I say, do it. Why not? Talk to your gang leader, bug him, and be part of the Victory Gang Center, like today, now.
So there you have it, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank our guests. Thank you, Alec, for coming, and Sister Brenda for being a part of this segment. Once again, my name is Pastor Gilbert Jr., and thank you for seeing us right here on VisionCast. Again, write this stuff down. If you're listening, write this stuff down and put it to practice. Ask God for a vision right there in your local gang, and watch God bless your youth ministry, bless your gang ministry, and see it go to the next level. We'll see you soon. God bless you.